The list of things one might want to see in Rome is so endless that many visitors overlook the numerous fabulous villas which abound throughout the city. One of the most beautiful of these is the Villa Farnesina, located in Trastevere. It was planned and built by Baldassare Peruzzi for the Sienese banker Agostino Chigi in the early 1500s. The villa was acquired by Cardinal Alessandro Farnese in 1580, and from that time it has been known by its current name. When I visited on a sunny Sunday morning, it was not thronged by tourists, to my surprise. After purchasing one's ticket, the entrance to the actual villa is on the north side. One is immediately in the loggia of Cupid and Psyche, where the ceiling frescoes are painted by Raphael and his school, including Giulio Romano. My photo focuses on the wedding banquet of Cupid and Psyche. Moving to the left, one enters the Loggia of Galatea, with the most famous work in the villa, Raphael's fresco of The Triumph of Galatea. Presumably in order to enable more detailed viewing, a copy has been placed at ground level. Before I went out to the garden, I ascended the grand staircase to the upper floor. Underneath this staircase, the delightful 19th century so-called Pompeian Hall is hidden. Upstairs, in the famed perspective hall, the first thing I noticed was the elaborate stonework on the floors and walls, along with the paneled ceiling. And of course, there is the illusionistic loggia, painted by architect Peruzzi. It was time for me to head downstairs and out into the very much non-illusionistic garden, the so-called secret garden of Agostino Chigi. I love gardens like this. I never tire of looking at the potted citrus plants or larger trees with their labels, and, in most cases, with their fruits, even if the Buddha's hand tree bore no fruit at all. My favorite here was the citron tree, with the massive, if still completely green, citrons pulling the branches down. The sound and feel of gravel underfoot is another pleasant sensory phenomenon. A welcome change from the familiar urban asphalt or cobblestones. I spent a good half hour in the garden among the citrus plants and the tall trees, chilling out in the quiet, with the traffic on the Lungotevere Farnesina muted by the hedges between the garden and the street. Most benches were in the shade, although the sun was surprisingly warm for mid-autumn. If you're looking for tranquility in between monument hopping, away from the crowds around the famous sites, this is a place to come to. I also loved this large, fluted sarcophagus from the late 3rd century AD, and the colossal head of a triton perched above it, as well as this Corinthian capitaled column in a little clearing nearby, with the villa in the background. The Villa Farnesina is also the seat of the Accademia Nazionale dei Lincei, which is primarily located across Via della Lungara in Palazzo Corsini. While the name Lincei literally means lynx-eyed, it refers to the acute minds of the great scientists who were its members. And indeed, it is one of the oldest scientific institutions in Europe, founded in 1603. One of its first members was Galileo Galilei. My ticket was also valid for the exhibition held in the Palazzo Corsini in honor of the 700th anniversary of the death of Marco Polo. The exhibition was up on the first floor, and I was in between guided tour times, so I wandered through by myself. Fascinating for me were the suspended red horizontal and gold vertical ribbons in the antechamber, outlining points on Marco Polo's travels. The red ones have to be read backwards and upside down from the second floor balcony. And I couldn't tear myself away from the maps. Not just the modern ones, which give the most easily readable overview of his astonishing travels, but also the historical ones, the Hereford map of the world before Marco Polo, and the map of Fra Mauro of the world after Marco Polo. My stomach was growling loudly. It was time to hustle off to my lunch at Trattoria Penestri. The details of all 3 lunches I enjoyed there will be in my next video.